What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope we're all absolutely fantastic. And today, as usual, we're going to continue with Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. It's going to be the fifth chapter of the sixth book. So let's get started. Prudence. To grasp what prudence is, we should first study the sort of people we call prudent. It seems proper to a prudent person to be able to deliberate finally about things that are good and beneficial for himself, not about some restricted area, about what sorts of things are means to health or strength, for instance, but about what sorts of things are means to living well altogether. A sign of this is the fact that we call people prudent about some restricted area whenever they calculate well about means to some excellent end in an area where there is no craft. Hence, where living well as a whole is concerned, the deliberative person will also be prudent. No one deliberates about things that cannot be otherwise or about things that cannot be achieved in his action. Hence, if science involves demonstration, but there is no demonstration of anything whose principles admit of being otherwise, since every such thing itself admits of being otherwise. And if we cannot deliberate about things that are by necessity, it follows that prudence is not science nor yet craft knowledge. It is not science because what is achievable in action admits of being otherwise. And it is not craft knowledge because action and production belong to different kinds. The remaining possibility, then, is that prudence is a state grasping the truth, involving reason, concerned with action about things that are good or bad for a human being. For production has its end in something other than itself, but action does not, since its end is acting well itself. That is why Pericles and such people are the ones whom we regard as prudent, because they are able to study what is good for themselves and for human beings. We think that household managers and politicians are such people. This is also how we come to give temperance its name, because we think that it preserves prudence. It preserves the appropriate sort of supposition, for the sort of supposition that is corrupted and perverted by the pleasant or painful is not every sort, not, for instance, the supposition that the triangle does or does not have two right angles, but suppositions about what is achievable in action. For the principles of things achievable in action are the end for the sake of which we act. But if someone is corrupted because of pleasure or pain, the appropriate principle can appear to him, and it cannot appear that this is the end, nor that for the sake of these, and because of these, one ought to choose to perform every action. For vice corrupts the principle, and so prudence must be a state grasping the truth, involving reason, and concerned with action about human goods. Moreover, there is virtue or vice in the use of craft, but not in the use of prudence. Further, in the craft, someone who makes errors voluntarily is more choiceworthy, but with prudence, as with the virtues, the reverse is true. Clearly, then, prudence is a virtue, not a craft. There are two parts of the soul that have reason. Prudence is a virtue of one of them, of the part that has belief. For belief is concerned, as prudence says, with what it means of being otherwise. Moreover, it is not only a state involving reason. A sign of this is the fact that such a state can be forgotten, but prudence cannot. Right, guys, we're done with the fifth chapter, and we're going to continue tomorrow on the next one. Thank you for joining me today on this reading session and this video. Hope you enjoyed the journey. See you tomorrow. Bye.